Welcome to the Empowered Life. I am your friend, Ern Inyon. This podcast aims to inspire you to create the life that you want to live. If you are not yet a subscriber, be sure to subscribe and get notified when a new episode is posted. Now let's go on with the show. Hi everyone. When my brother Rommel passed away in September 2021, it was the most painful experience I ever had. I felt like I was being ripped in half, and the pain was so deep that I can hardly breathe. For a moment, I questioned why my brother need to go. He still has so much to give. He still has two kids that need his guidance. My brother had flaws just like the rest of us, but he was a good man. For many of us, death is a bad thing, especially if it happens to a person who's young and full of life, or a tragedy that completely changes the life of a good person. Or perhaps you yourself experience an event, an accident or loss that is important to you, that left you questioning God. So why do bad things happen to good people? I have three reasons for you. The first one is it is part of life. We live on this planet together with animals, plants, and a gazillion other species. Apart from cohabiting this world with these species, there are many things that are happening, such as typhoons, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis, and storms. And all of these make up life here on Earth. And all that is necessary to keep the balance. So we are caught in this web of life. The unfortunate thing is, natural catastrophes don't keep an account which one is good and which one is bad. When there is a tsunami, the rampaging water doesn't know if you're a good or a bad person, whether you are Pope Francis or a serial killer. It just kills everything on its path. Same thing with volcanic eruption. I remember when Mount Pinatubo erupted, my brothers and I were in Quezon City at that time. It was an hour past noon when all of a sudden, darkness falls across the land. The midnight hours is close at hand. Fortunately, there was no creature crawling in search of blood. We didn't really know what it was. The next day, we saw in the news buried houses, churches, crops were burned, countless lives were lost. Another one is typhoon. The Philippines is visited by an average of 14 typhoons a year. As I speak, we are experiencing one. We had many devastating ones that brought massive loss. I remember Ondoy in 2009. The aftermath was like the apocalypse. You can see in the streets cars filled with mud, one on top of the other. It's like Lego. There were even things found on top of the electric posts like refrigerators, and you would wonder how on earth they got there. Many people lost their houses, cars, and loved ones. The strong wind and flood did not know which ones were good people and bad people. They just did their thing. The same thing with COVID. When the lockdown was announced in March 2020, all of us were afraid because we were dealing with a virus that we don't know how to manage. Everything we just hear in the news, people are dying. All of us are praying and hoping we won't be included in the statistics. The brother of a surgeon whom we know died because he was one of those who were exposed treating COVID patients in the ER. He died while on duty. So, same thing. The virus doesn't know whether you are the most generous guy in the world, a noble doctor, or a crook. The second reason is ignorance. I'm about to embarrass myself. About 10 years ago, I have braces on my teeth. Growing up, my teeth resembled that of a bird's beak. My favorite mother-in-law used to make fun of it, calling me Edgar Monteith, trying to compare me to the great Filipino actor. Flattering, but no thanks. Finally, I was able to save some cash, and I have a very good dentist in the person of Dr. Janet Santos, who for 2 years patiently worked on my teeth. Dr. Santos had to remove four big teeth, two upper and two lower teeth. It was so painful, but it gave me the reason to eat ice cream for days, which was actually better. I had to wear those braces for 2 years, and I never missed an appointment. I was a very good patient. When the braces were finally removed, I had to wear retainers to hold the teeth for another year. The retainers were removable. I brought along with me a case for it. It was colored blue. I remove it every time I eat so that the food won't stick, so don't stick to it. So in the process of removing and putting it back, there were days that I forgot to put it back. My teeth were still in a fragile state, so to speak, that the teeth can go back to the beak position if the retainers are not in place regularly. So I remember after missing to put my retainers back for a month, I tried putting it back. It was a bit tight already, but after pushing it vigorously, I finally placed it back. A few days later, I felt feverish. So I took paracetamol, drank a lot of water, and took long naps. After a day, my fever went up to 41 and I was already chilling. My wife rushed me to the Asian Medical Hospital and the nurses immediately got me a room and I was admitted. My doctor, Dr. Abad Santos, was surprised to see me again. You see, not too long ago, not too long before that incident, I had two bouts of dengue, and he was the one who took care of me. Dr. Abad Santos said that they still don't know what is the cause. What is the cause of my fever? So at first he thought maybe a third bout of dengue. So they took samples of my blood and they subjected me to several tests. The first couple of days were just, tests. On the fifth day, Dr. Abad Santos ruled out that it was not dengue. So they thought it could be malaria or some type of bacteria. So they had to culture my blood and took more samples of my blood. With all the needles that were pricked to me, there was a time that they could not find a better vein because both of my arms were already swollen. All the while I was battling with high fever. Thank God I never vomited, but I was already hallucinating because of the steroids they injected on me. I remember so vividly that I asked myself, probably this is the reason why many artists would take drugs. For a time, I saw beautiful art. I remember I was in a tunnel driving, and the design of the tunnel was so intricate and it was so beautiful. It had checkered floor with statues of angels. Okay, back to my story. So we waited for the results of the blood culture. After 2 weeks in the hospital, Dr. Abad Santos finally called my wife that he will be dropping by the room that day. It was 8 p.m. already and no word from Dr. Abad Santos. My wife already thought that probably the case is not that critical and could wait for tomorrow morning since Dr. Abad Santos usually does his rounds very early in the morning. But at 10:30 in the evening, there was a knock on the door and it was the doctor. Dr. Abad Santos, with excitement in his eyes, revealed to us that finally they found the reason, and it was salivarius endocarditis. It is a very rare disease caused by a salivarius bacteria that went to the bloodstream and started to build a colony in my heart. It is so rare that only over 1,000 people got it in the history of mankind. In fact, the doctor said that I was the first Asian case. The doctors told me that before they thought it was just a theory. So for a time, I felt like a celebrity with more doctors visiting me in my room. However, it was no laughing matter. If it was not detected, in due time I will have cardiac arrest. In short, my case was fatal. But the good doctor said, the good thing here now is that they know what to do. So he prescribed me lots of medicines. I needed to take induced antibiotics for 2 months and a couple of more medicines. So I was sporting a hep lock during that period, and I was not allowed to do strenuous exercises. After 2 months, finally the hep lock was removed and I was out of danger. But the bacteria left a mark in my heart. I am sharing with you this story because the cause of this whole ordeal that I almost died was when I insisted on putting back my retainers. It somehow traumatized my gums and teeth that triggered the salivarius bacteria to swim through my bloodstream. So how on earth would I have known that? But nevertheless, my ignorance almost got me killed. There are many things we do that we focus on the short term benefits on us, but we are ignorant about the effects to our neighbor and especially to our planet. We have many inventions in the past that are useful, but they are also harmful to our planet. I was watching the series The Future of in Netflix, and one of the episodes was about the future of fashion. Many of us just buy clothes and we wear them once just to show off in social media. Fast fashion brands like Uniqlo, H&M, and Zara made clothes cheap and affordable. But the flip side of this is that we are producing huge amount of waste. Many of the clothes we wear are made of synthetic, nylon, or polyester, which are all derived from petroleum. The fashion industry uses an average of 342 million barrels of oil per year, and we are churning at a staggering 92 million tons of textile waste per year. Added to that, since they are made of plastic essentially, they will not go away for hundreds of years. The harm we are making may not affect us in our lifetime, but the future generations will. Our children will pay for our ignorance. Ignorance is not bliss. We may get away with ignorance, but it will come back and haunt us. It always does. Sometimes we think that tomorrow will take care of tomorrow's problems, so we continue to party all night long. That's ignorance and selfish. The more lazy people there are, the more man made problems there will be in the future. The third reason is negligence. In the morning of March 16, 2022, two bikers were resting along Seaside Boulevard near Mall of Asia when a van made a U turn and ran over them, killing one of them instantly, and the other was rushed to a nearby hospital where he later died. The driver of the van was a 19-year-old intoxicated young man. When the news about this incident broke, many cyclists laid candles and flowers where the accident happened. So, two young, health conscious people died because of someone's negligence. I can't imagine the grief on the parents of those two kids. Another story was in August 15, 2017. A family of five were on a car traveling slowly along Mindanao Avenue because of traffic when suddenly a cement truck tried to squeeze itself along the center aisle, resulting it to fall on top of the car. It flattened the car like a tin can, killing the driver instantly, who was the father, and injuring the mother and kids. How many similar accidents have we heard that resulted to death because of other people's negligence? The thing about negligence is that it doesn't take into account if the victim is a good person or bad. The drunk young man didn't intend to kill those two cyclists who were resting, but he did. The cement truck driver had no grudge on the family inside the car, but he killed the father. Those are the three reasons why bad things happen to good people. When you drive northbound along Skyway, there's a billboard there that shows Psalm 91 in bold letters, and it says, "No harm will come to you, no sickness will come near your house. He will put his angels in charge of you to protect you in all your ways." You know, as Christians, we were taught to pray, to ask for God's grace. However, the reality is we need to come to terms with the universe's indifference. No one is spared. Death in itself is not bad. It simply signifies the end of life. However, we view death as bad because we want to cling on to life as much as we can. We all don't want to go. We want to go because of a natural catastrophe, of ignorance, of our own ignorance, and more so of other people's negligence. But the reality we all share is we don't know when this will happen. But by not knowing, it should be enough reason to value whatever time that we have and to love as much as we can.
Thank you so much for listening, friends. Please rate and review this podcast and share it to your friends. Until next time, blessings always.